All right.
But it's
On the ride over here, Josh and I were talking about a guy you ran into in a parking lot.
Yeah.
Tell me about that story. Because if you guys haven't seen it on his channel, I want you to go over to his channel, but I want you to tell me that story. Tell me the name of your channel real quick, Josh.
So my channel name is Stony Ridge Farmer. I've got a farm in North Carolina, north central North Carolina.
Yep.
And I ran into a guy. I was going to go pay my tithing, my government tithing on my
Taxes.
So taxes, tithing for permission to not steal my property.
Yes.
So I went over to the tax office to pay my $4,000 annual taxes on my farm. And by the way, I have to pay income tax on my cows. So my cows produce offspring. So I've got 20 cows. They produce 20 offspring. At the end of the year, I have to turn in 4 of those offspring to pay my taxes. You know that, right? So it's just like being in the serfdom time of
Agreed.
Of our lives. So I create something out of thin air. Cows breed, create a baby cow. I create that, I take care of the grass, I take care of everything, and in the end of it all, basically when I sell my cows, I have to hand over 2 out of every 10 cows the profit that I made. So 2 out of every 10 animals gets handed back to the government. But that's a story for another day.
That's about the 20% margin that we're paying in federal tax. But now you ran into a guy in the parking lot.
Yeah, I ran into him.
Tell me that story.
So a guy in his 80s I ran into in the parking lot. He had a cool old truck. I went up to him and started talking about his truck. I thought this was his second truck, like his toy. No, it wasn't his toy. It was his only truck. It was like a 1979 Chevrolet pickup truck, rusted out. I thought it was cool. Started talking to him, chatting him up about the truck, and then we started talking about taxes. He's like, yeah, this year I had to borrow to pay my taxes. I had to borrow $1,000 to pay my taxes. My wife's in the hospital. I'm in my 80s. We're on fixed income. And he'd owned his house since the 1960s. And over time, he had paid for his own property 2 or 3 times over in taxes.
In taxes alone. And now he's in his 80s.
And still being
and
taxed.
And he has to go out and get a loan
to pay his taxes.
Or his property will be taken away out from underneath him.
Yeah, they'll just auction it out off on the courthouse steps if you don't pay your taxes.
Now, the Fourth Amendment clearly states that the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures. That's our Fourth Amendment right in the Bill of Rights. So when did it become reasonable to kick an 80-year-old man out of his own home because he's unable to pay property taxes year after year after year? He didn't just pay them once. This guy has been paying these property taxes over and over and over again to the point where now he's going to take out a loan to pay his own property tax. When did that become reasonable?
I don't know. And then the question's posed, well, at a certain age, do we cut off property taxes to people? And I say the question needs to be posed, I paid taxes on it when I earned it, I paid taxes on it when I spent it, and now I got to pay taxes on this stuff that I bought. I agree with paying property taxes for business property because you deduct that from your business expenses. But I don't agree with paying property tax on something you've already been taxed on. You're taxed 3 times on this. It's ridiculous.
Now you're also, if they can tax you and if you don't pay your taxes, they can take away your land that's already paid for. You are no longer secure in your own personal possessions and your own personal property.
No, not only will you get a lien placed on your property, but you'll have fines, interest, and all that stuff. You'll have all that. So you better lawyer up. Now, how's a guy that has to get a loan to pay his taxes going to afford a lawyer to lawyer up on it? And this is something I'm going to take to my county, and we're going to have a serious discussion about it. Another thing, every month I get a flyer from the local community college that comes out of the county's budget, right? Each one of these flyers probably costs, $3 to make and $1 to mail. So $4 per month goes to every single resident in my county of wasted tax dollar money. This is going to an 85-year-old's house, a flyer for the local community college. It's going to people that are already have college educations, people that are never going to go to college. It's just a waste, an absolute waste. So there's so much waste going on, and they spend our tax dollars like it's on fire. Like they're allergic to it.
So you said you're going to do something about it, which makes me want to go over to Tom because he is doing something about it. Guys, I have Tom here. Tom, you are doing something about it.
Yes, I am.
Tell me what you're doing because Well, you tell the story, Tom. This is good. This is good.
When we're in Minnesota, the Minnesota House of Representative Democratic side is not working
They have boycotted going to work.
because they lost the majority.
Absolutely.
I'm in 52B, and my representative is a woman by the name of Bianca Verde. Bianca was not working. I called her to ask her why she's not going in. She never answered the phone. I couldn't leave a message, so I emailed her. I never got a response back. But there's so much waste, fraud, and abuse in Minnesota that my tax dollars that I have paid are at significant risk. Since I couldn't reach her, I couldn't talk to her. The only way I could talk to her, since I couldn't compel her to go to work, was to sue her. So I sued her in conciliation court in Dakota County, and I'm suing for an injunction to have her mandated to go to work to represent me and my tax dollars. But I also want a refund of the portion of taxes when I'm not represented.
This is beautiful. He's suing his representative because she's refusing to go to work, and his tax dollars are paying her to go to work, which she's not doing. So you're asking for a refund.
Exactly. Since I'm not represented and I'm being taxed without representation, those dollars are at risk. And since I do not have representation, I want them completely off the table. So they can't be wasted, they can't be defrauded, and they're not going to buy a hotel in some other country.
I want to know how well that lawsuit goes.
I will keep you informed, Stan. I have a date, and I will be going to court, and I will have my say.
Because if this works, then we all have something that we know we can do at that point moving forward.
Exactly.
This is awesome. So thank you for sharing your story. Josh, thank you for sharing your story. The name of your channel one more time is?
Stony Ridge Farmer.
Stony Ridge Farmer. And this has nothing to do with being a Democrat or a Republican, because both sides are completely crooked and bought out. This is about making people be justified for where our dollars go. It doesn't matter which side of the aisle you're on. You're still a brother from a different mother, as far as I'm concerned. I don't care if your hair is blue or green, you still bleed red.
What if it's gone?
100 years ago, you didn't need a permit to build a fence on your own property. You didn't need a permit to start a business. You didn't need a permit to build a house. You didn't need a permit or somebody else's permission to raise cows and chickens on your own property. But over the last 100 years, we have incrementally given up our individual freedoms in exchange to the government for perceived security. And a lot of people tell me, don't get involved in politics. Keep that off from your channel. Well, the point of this channel is to help you guys start a successful business. And along that journey, what I've done that's been successful and how it's worked out has been to follow the trends that are happening in government and stay at least 5 steps ahead of them. If you put a blind eye and say everything is going to be good in the world and the government around me and I just got to concentrate on these things, you, my friend, unfortunately are burying your head in the sand and letting fate deliver whatever fate is going to deliver on you, instead of you standing up, being a man, and going out and grabbing and reaching your own destiny because it's what you chose to do. Don't give up your individual freedoms and liberties in exchange and hoping that somebody else will have your best interests in mind when we've found out that they don't. And if you think government can't hurt or help your business, you, my friend, are sadly mistaken. Ask the tens of thousands of small businesses that completely got shut down when the words co and then vid, you put those two things together, came about. And the government, for our own safety and security, decided to shut down the nation, putting tens of thousands of small business owners completely out of business that fast. What happens on a large scale trickles down and absolutely affects us. So the best way to be prepared for that is to understand at least the basics of that. And every now and then, I'm going to try to bring you some deeper insight, some deeper messaging, because that's what has led me to be successful. It's not lick and stick. It's not happenstance. It's looking at what's happening now and understanding what are the paths that lead down to the future. And if you guys can understand that, you can better guide your business and make more informed decisions that will help you optimize what's currently happening for yourself in conjunction with what's happening on a global scale. When you start to tie those things together, that's when you truly find the absolute best, fastest path to success. There is a method to the madness. The point is, we deserve the proper representation that our money is going to. We need to know where our money is being spent, what it's being spent on, and why that's happening. And another thing I want to say is, no more omnibus bills. Get rid of omnibus bills. Single bills.
Yeah.
And as far as our representatives go, their income should be the median income of the people they represent.
And these omnibus bills that you're talking about,
Yep.
they encompass everything. Everything gets stacked onto them.
If you don't know what an omnibus bill is when you see all of our legislators voting on a stack of bills like this. That's not one bill. That's hundreds, maybe even 1,000 different slight weird bills all shoved together. And they tell you about one topic, they pull on your heartstrings, and they don't tell you about all the other ways that they're funding all of these corrupt systems.
We just had a clean water omnibus bill. It had nothing to do with clean water. It was our Minnesota lottery, and they were saying we want 10% of this money to go to clean water. The whole thing is for clean water. It was for, actually, the truth of that omnibus bill was to funnel money to selective special interest programs without legislative oversight.
And that is exactly what is being currently exposed. People are finally getting to see the light of this thing. Thank you. Appreciate your story. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate it, buddy. Go subscribe to his channel. He's one of my best friends. Yes, sir. Stony Ridge Farmer.